Salam alaikum alaikum salam I hope you guys are having a great weekend and a great night. We are here reading a little bit from the book Palo Mayombe, The Garden of Blood and Bones, by Nicholas de Matos. You can find it over on the internet. Okay, we're going to speak a little bit today here, or read a little bit here on what are the Fidmas. Actually, what do they signify in a sense? Not much reading, like always, guys, but just a little bit. Here we go, the Fidmas. The Fidmas of Palo Mayombe are the spirit's signature. In the Fidmas, we can see the essence of the Nkisi and also what Rama the signature derives from. For instance, the Fidma of Kimbisa tends to be all made within Enzo and Zambi, the church, while the Ndoki Ramas, like Changani, are rougher, and yet again, the Briyumba seems to represent a more elaborate cosmological presentation of the signature. The basic format of Fidmas consists of arrows, crosses, and circles. The arrows represent directions, the circles possibilities, what is not yet manifested, the negative, the crosses, the positive presence of Nsambi. And this world of Nsambi is described in its richness of possibilities. It does not really matter what symbols the different Ramas apply. The basic idea are still inscribed in the Entoto, and from this, the Fidmas take life. The Fidmas of Palo Mayombe are as important as the Veves are in Voodoo. We're going to read that again. The Fidmas of Palo Mayombe are as important as the Veves are in Voodoo. Like the Veves, they are cosmograms revealing the essential nature of a given power. When the Ngangulero draws the Fidma and mutters the words of the power, the cosmogram becomes its representation. The Fidma, when activated like a prayer and calling at the same time, it claims the attention of who the signature belongs to. When the Africans arrived in Cuba, they also entered into contact with the indigenous people there, the Taino. The Taino venerated a god, Yukahu, that they considered an ancestral deity living in the mountains. This deity ancestor had a brother, Huracan, who manifested in storms. Yukahu was a guard against storms and a provider of peace and fertility of the land through his wife, Ataberia, often conceived of as a giant turtle. For the Taino, all things were semi, a word used to denote the common spiritual meeting point between a spirit and God, and its material representation in the shape of vessels and signs. Human bones were important, as the bones were the ancestral memory and were treated accordingly. The vessels and concepts will resonate well with the Africans, but in addition, the Taino also used petroglyphs and markings in the sand and wood to symbolize the presence of the semi. It seemed that everything in existence was accompanied by symbolic form that made the power manifest. It has been suggested that the Taino originally immigrated from the upper parts of present-day Brazil, which might explain why we find similar beliefs and practices among the Indian populations in the northeast of Brazil. It also provides an avenue of explanation for the presence of pontos riscados, marked point in Umbanda and Kimbanda. It can also be noted that a need for symbolic representation increased with slavery, as the slaves were often without their sacred spirit pots and vessels. No matter how we seek to explain this, the presence of Fidmas, Veve, Puntos, Riscaldos is something clearly shared between the Congo-inspired practitioners and Indians. For the African, this was merely a logical extension of representing the divine. The meeting with the Taino might have inspired the importance of Fidmas in Palo Mayombe as much as the Voodoo Veve in Hispania. The firmas are essential. They serve as the password for the prenda to work, and having the firma of your prenda, you can bring its manifestation to whatever place the firma is drawn. All prendas have their own personal firmas, which is the tratado or the contract between the prenda and the engangulero. The yowa is used in a most intrigued way in the Rama of Palomonte Briyumba Malongo, where we find Nkisi, Arongoro, and Angoromea. The basic firma is simple. It is a world separated by a cross that marks 4 fields. The fields are marked with 2 crosses in the upper half and 2 circles in the lower half. They are syncretized with Ibeji and sacred twins in Santeria. But Angoro and Angoromea has little to do with the perception of twins and Santeria, as they represent a far more traditional and true reflection upon the mystery of twins. Angoro and Angoromea are said to be chichirikus that were stillborn and thus represented by a doll with a skeleton face. Angoro is said to have drawn in poisoned water, and thus the placenta is particularly sacred for him. He is said to be given life by Nkisi, the thunder. Angoromea is said to be female, similar in vibe to the Arara spirit, Anabi. She is said to have been strangled by her umbilical cord, and thus this cord, as the hangman's noose, is particularly sacred to her. She is said to be given life by Kalunga, or rather Baluande. This twin mystery is in need of a further stellar counterpart to truly come to life. So the Nzamba and red and white Mpungo that takes its power from the sun is what animates Angoro and turn him into the son of death, walking the earth. In the same manner, Entala and blue and white Mpungo, who takes her powers from the moon, animates Angoromea and turns her into a deadly moon walking the earth. This mystery is descriptive of the sacred technology applied in Palo Mayombe. Bones are given life, both by the rituals of exhumation, the power of earth, but also the influence of the stars, thus presenting a mystery veiled in nocturnal elegance. The twin mystery in Palo Mayombe also provides an interesting connection to Guru Finda, the Lord of the Greenwood, in his Yoruba counterpart Osayin, who in Cuba seems to have fused with him quite completely. It is namely with Osayin and Guru Finda the secret of twins rests and nowhere else. And Guru Finda is indispensable in Palo Mayombe. He is the animating power of nature. The life of our body is possible because of him. He possesses the secrets of earth and leaves. He possesses the secret of earth and leaves, the waters and the trees. When we pass away from this world, our animated matter returns to nature, the field of his expertise.